Actually, that's a general question. Would you be interested in uploading the videos as well to your portal site? So basically, this is a video that I add to the distance learning webpage, and they can then watch it in their time. So I break it normally down into individual sections, 10 to 15 minutes, whilst you have it, of course, all in one go. But I can upload it as well if you want that.
Yeah.
Okay, I do that. So I upload as well for last week then the session to your portal. Okay, so yeah, be careful when you're getting out as well. So today we cover the project context, and we want to look a little bit at definitions and why we define it this way in the first place. It's actually really odd if you speak it out and you explain it to a friend, you will realize you're kind of in a surreal setting. Yeah? Then we go a little bit more explicit into project success. Learning from failure is here a big emphasis. Yeah? We still have this normative notion. Luckily, we made a lot of we have a lot of failures that we can study, so to learn a little bit out of them. So there's a temporality of success and happiness, so which means so much like you are in it, yeah, and it has an effect on you as well. And then last but not least, stakeholder satisfaction. And today we stop really at the point where we ask the question, why do they matter in the first place? Yeah? Normally without stakeholders, it's a straight success. Be careful with the cables. We have already cameras flying around. Okay. So actually, to make a, we come to that. Okay. So let's get started. First part really, the curious case of projections, and that is us doing a project. Yeah? And here I want to look really at the project context, discovery and projection, or getting what you want. Yeah? So this is quite interesting. The projection has, of course, features to itself. So what is it actually, the projection? Well, it's something that we do where we don't relate to our traditional organizations anymore in a standard way. It's not standard operations. So this is important to recognize. Yeah? If you start a project, you abandon it. Yeah? You say like, okay, it's not part of standard operation, we do that differently. So normally there's an emphasis to this. So it can be that you have less resources. Yeah, or you have a normal amount of resources, but you want to do it differently. Yeah, so that's a resource constraint delivery. Yeah. Then you have often the other wonderful notion, we do projects to accelerate. Sorry, I should give more background to the resources. So the resource constraint delivery is particularly coming from the historic origin. If you look at the project management literature, you will see it's campaigns. This is coming from events, where you target resources instead of allocating it linearly to the department or segments or companies to do something, and you say, like, actually, we try to achieve that with that amount of resources, often evaluated in money, commitments maybe, and so forth. Yeah, there are actually a lot more. We look at that in detail. Then it's as well often removedness from the organization to accelerate. We know things take time. Yeah? If you do it the usual way and you want to change something, there's a lot of work involved. So we jump that with the project. We try to do something quicker than normal. Yeah? That's the idea. Get quicker as well our return on investment. That is why that is so popular in business culture as well. Yeah? Think about it. Yeah? Do you want to wait a whole generation and figure out if your prototype, your design works? Yeah? We still have industries where we do that. Yeah? If you go into agriculture, food, our varieties of strawberries and potatoes, whatever, really, it doesn't really matter. They have now still a life cycle of 13 years before anything changes. They change it every year, so we still have every year a change, but it's 13 years old. Yeah? So this is quite interesting. In other industries, we have accelerated a lot. Yeah, automotive. How many designs do we do in automotive? Does anybody know? Okay, automotive is not even Champions League. Who is Champions League? Where do we invent all the time products? Yeah? What?
Computers and phones.
Computers and phones, yeah, just about there. And what would you say to a friend? Why is that?
So you're constantly upgrading this. Everything's
Okay, this is an informed bet, yeah? The more uninformed bet is fashionable, yeah? You want to have the new model, it looks different, it's smaller, now it's bigger, yeah? And so, you know, it just doesn't go as well with your clothes, yeah? So fashions and clothes, that is actually where we have the optimal acceleration, and we have a program. We don't have a project anymore. Every spring we have a new fashion, yeah? So this is what we dream of in many industries. This is where this is coming from, accelerated delivery. Then the remoteness, this is something that was just pointed out actually in 2003. We didn't really think about that. But you are not requiring the manufacturing plant anymore. In project, we just do it everywhere. Yeah? It's not a problem. The most extreme was, of course, the space exploration, where you had actually the movement from Earth out of the orbit. So this is the most extreme philosophic idea. But if you think about your project, you will see that we actually produce as well kind of things that we associate with manufacturing, and we produce it actually not in our factory anymore. We rent capacities for a project in different manufacturing facilities. Yeah, outsourcing is a part. Yeah, outsourcing comes from operational management, the terminology, but you're spot on. Yeah, that is a movement that we have probably discussed quite often. And there's probably a lot of bad press as well. More thinking about the implications there. Yeah. But remote is more the notion really that you can deliver it wherever you want. Yeah. And then, of course, there's another hidden one, desire delivery. Yeah, we have moved from kind of coming up with solutions by direct threat, yeah, survival, build a house, yeah, something like that. You know, don't sleep outside, quite frankly, yeah, you use shelter. Nowadays, coming to a point where we don't even like ask anymore, like holistically what we need. We let the market decide. Yeah, you have an idea, your friends like it, then some other people want it too. Yeah, there you go. You have created the desire. If you can market it, if they pay a certain agreement for it, then it's deliverable. The project is a go. Yeah? So it's a possibility of shifting away from the initial product design or sketch of what is desirable, often even centrally planned. Yeah, this is what in the past it was done by the states or big companies. That a lot of the, actually here in the Northeast you can see that, a lot of the housing projects from the past were built by big companies. Yeah? There was no state yet involved. Yeah, talking 17th century and 18th century, a little bit 19th century. And then we have the shift where we had a state where we're doing it, and then we start individualizing buildings. Same with cars, you know, like cars was a tailored thing. You had a driver that came with the car. Yeah? Now that would be probably a ridiculous proposal. I don't actually, many companies still have that, but you have to be quite senior and have a shareholder company that pays a lot. Yeah? Then you still have a driver. Yeah, something like that. So there is certainly that shift from problem-oriented to user-driven, and now market and consumer-driven. Yeah? So if somebody consumes it, it's a go. Yeah? The classical one is as well. If you are a painter and you have a customer that wants to buy your painting, there's a closed circle. Yeah? So same with project. That's quite interesting actually later for stakeholders. Yeah? So those are the big overarching themes, and they are quite big at this point. So let's actually cut them down a little bit. This is certainly what we were up for. I have to say, there's a hidden agenda from me too. When I grew up, I was quite young. I was told the story that we are on a good way of solving all the problems that we have in the world, and that we will, as one planet, explore the universe. Yeah? And understanding why we forgot about that and the advancement and what we now fill our time with is one of the hidden agendas of this talk. Yeah? But it's more for entertainment. So we talk a little bit about space travel and implicit designs in this talk. Yeah. Okay, this was quite philosophic and quite wide. So this is a summary of all. Yeah. So what is a project? Let's have a look at the pragmatic idea to it. Actually, do you have any observations at this point? Are there any doubts? Don't just take it for granted. Be critical. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes maybe you want to create a new product, and maybe there is no one yet. So then it's maybe harder to apply the desired delivery.
You're spot on. Yeah, but with the consumer, if you have already one that pays for it, then you have some momentum, and then you can employ mechanisms like marketing to maybe show the appeal, or lead as well a market towards it. But it's a very good observation. Yeah, in science, we come as well. I touch at some point in the lecture series on projects in research and development in science. We have a lot of inventions. The radio wave, for example, was discovered by a Dutch guy, a wonderful scientist, and he called it the radio wave. And when he was asked, it was a big thing, he had spent a lot of money as well, investing in technology, first of all, sensing the wave, the radio wave, and realizing what material is actually radiated, so forth, and then died early for obvious reasons. Radiation is not really good for you, but so a lot of investment. But then when he was asked at the Royal Society of Science, what is this radio wave good for? He said, no idea, but somebody will figure something out in the future. Now that is the idea. So we have a lot of invention. That may be great, but the time hasn't yet come. So this is as well something that we have to look at. Yeah? Very good point. Thank you. Okay. So now we have to jump from this wonderful, inspiring picture to a little bit more pragmatic notion of what a project actually is. Yeah, so actually, before I destroy your fantasy, what is a project actually? If you have to be pragmatic, we need here one sentence that kind of fits on the slide.
It's a means of initiating change of some sort. From a steady state to a different state.
Yeah, so you have an existing state, a steady state, how you do things, and it's a changing it to a new way of doing things. Yeah?
To achieve a given goal.
Okay, we are going here down already the tick box, so a given goal, an achievement, with a goal means as well probably an end, potentially, depending on how the goal is defined.
Yeah, whatever it is you want to.
Beginning and end.
Oh, okay, wow. Okay, I like some people are already trained on this keyword game, So wait a minute, we had stakeholders, benefits, stakeholders.
Beginning and end.
Beginning and end, goals.
Smart, something smart.
Smart?
Specific, measurable, realistic and timed.
Oh, smart,
achievable.
By the way, the smart is highly ambiguous. You have to say which
Something
ones
that's
you
a
mean.
project can't be. It can't be just something that's not achievable. It's got to be realistic with end goals. It got to be somehow we've got to accomplish them.
Okay, so you are on about the smart with specific,
Measurable,
and so forth.
accurate, realistic, timed.
It has to be unique. Unique in a sense.
Ooh, unique. Okay, here we're going already a little bit like in the, I don't want to say snobbery level, but I like it. So there has to be a unique spin to it.
Temporary. Temporary. Like it has to a definite start and end.
Sustainable.
Yeah, okay, so again, a fixed time frame at some point.
Budget and time.
Budget and time. Okay, now we kind of have the triangle. Okay, I'm happy with this. And anything to add that we have completely missed out? I think we have covered actually pretty much all the points. If we have those words and you puzzle around with it, you would certainly trick my word recognition program. So you would be on the safe side there. The APM, this is the old one. This is really to show a little bit where the history comes from, because all these definitions are still kind of true at different places. It depends very much where you are performing your project, in which definition is the dearest, or most authentic one. So certainly in 1998, we had from the Association for Project Management, this was really Mary McKinley who came up with that. And she worked at the time in the, on a big government project looking at IT. Yeah, I don't know if you remember, there was a wonderful project that was really worried about the year 2000 to come. Some of you may not be aware of this.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So there was the idea that at 2000 all the computers would give up and walk home. So it was a worrying concern. No, it had to do with accounting. Yeah, we had before always added a number to the 9, and that was a switch where all 4 digits were to change. Yeah. So, but the definition was the following: a piece of work which is one-off, finite, and has a beginning and end. Yeah. So, and again, finite here start. I hope it makes sense. Yeah? So this was kind of the starting point. And the definition that came with it, managing a project, so this I think is still totally true for a lot of projects. Yeah? This, I don't think that it has changed a lot if you go actually into companies and you look how they actually measure projects, on what performance. Yeah? So be aware, yeah? This is still a strong thing. And when you then look at the notion of managing a project, you have the overall planning, control, coordination of a project from inception to completion, and at meeting clients' requirements in order that the project will be completed on time with authorized cost and to the required quality standards. So you see here already given budget, here this is more loosely. Yeah? We said, yeah, we had a budget, but if it's authorized, it's still budget, so it's okay. Yeah, and as well with the time, it's okay. And what's interesting is it's required quality standards. It's not given or legally required. Yeah, so this is something that you may have to look for. Yeah? So there is of course a problem if you look nowadays into the companies and you go and work in supply chains that are quite driven, that have like wonderful quality systems like Lean, Six Sigma, you name it. There is a whole package. You will see that this doesn't really fit. Yeah? It's outdated. It's still true for a lot of projects. If you go out, I would say the majority of the world will still kind of understand it and comply to this. Yeah? Be aware of that. But it's outdated, largely. Yeah? Actually, let's do the test. Who is still kind of working in projects like this? This is a reasonable. Wait a minute, I take the red away. It's just threatening otherwise. So, who still operates with definitions like this? Anybody? Oh, I've already told you about it. So yeah. So, have you come across that kind of? So, what would we measure here in the project when we perform a project like that?
Basically, the Japanese project where I worked in Saudi Arabia was working on the same lines as the first definition.
Yeah.
We had a definite budget and it was finite and different beginning and end. They have been around about fishing, buildings and everything.
So it's still quite common. If you look at the measurements that the project team has as availability, you measure, first of all, do we accomplish the piece? There are not many pieces, yeah, so there's well adjustments where you try to get it right on the first project. Then there's clearly a beginning and end that you try to manage, yeah, so you know if you're not on time, that you may want to have like an additional shift, you have to be back on track, or maybe there's well other ways of cutting around there, yeah, more man sometimes does the trick. Yeah, this depends. And man, I mean that multi-gender. Yeah? So this is just what we have a lot in the literature around that. And we often have as well resources that we can throw at it, of course.
At the same time, there was another project going on in another place basically opposite to it, and it was not on these lines. It had an infinite budget, and there was no time constraint for me. We were just working on it and making it better and better every day.
Okay. This is an even more. How was your feeling then when you saw on the other side this building where you had time to think about things, improve it, throw a little bit more money towards it?
thought that was a Saudi government project and they were putting in money like anything.
Okay. Oh, I see. So that one was a private project, one
Yeah.
was a public one. Okay, there are points to come as well on that. Yeah, so maybe not pooled money, and it was probably like well adjusted with recent budget updates. But okay. So now we had that already. That is kind of the model that is a good starting point, because we cover all the aspects, and then we talked already on it. Through it actually last session. Project management has become this on time, in budget, to scope, executional delivery, and this is the biggest overlap. Yeah? So this still overlaps with the previous definition, only that you have now, I suppose, more elements. Scope and risk was kind of implicit in the previous definition. And you have kind of the resources kind of fragmented. Yeah, we have here human resources. And notice we don't actually have machines and other resources, material resources in this. Yeah, so often in project management we don't do this in house anymore. Yeah, we work actually with teams that deliver it, or subcontractors, or specialists that contribute to our team with their resources, with their expertise. Yeah? But still, a key element here is communications, quality, and the procurement has as well a dominating point on how you actually operate and what your organizational relations are really. So if you jump to the notion of the projection, you will see that we have actually arrived at a new role. The role of the project manager involves the management of the definition and delivery of the project for stakeholder success in its contextual focus. Now, what has changed here? Well, what is the biggest change here? Is it the same, roughly? Okay, I've already an unhappy, like, no, it's not the same. Okay. What would you say? What's the big difference? Yeah. Stakeholders. Okay. Yeah, exactly. And it was your keyword as well. Yeah. So we had it already up front. Yeah. Now our success doesn't really matter so much anymore if we are on budget and on time. Yeah. It's a lot more important to actually figure out what is success to them. That is a big shift. Yeah? Does it make sense? Okay, let's have a closer look at this. So there is, of course, there's literature to it. But by the way, I have as well always the references at the end of the PowerPoint slide. So when you go to the ERP and you were fascinated or you don't believe me in some of the aspects, by the way, I don't make this up. This comes from literature. I should add that too. Yeah, so it's not all my work. Actually, there are only small pockets where it's really my work, but never mind. But here you will see that I found those two quite interesting. There are a lot of people talking about context, but there's always a question if it's actually relevant. Yeah, so context has gone a long way. But here it is. So context is divided by them into inner and outer, and very simplified at an organizational level. You can view the outer context as the organization is positioned in a sector, in an economic and social system. Yeah? And Michelle will probably, I hope she tells you, that it's as well environmental. Yeah? But I have to say, again, in project management, we had the debate with APM. We don't have sustainability in the project management book, yeah? So it's a contested topic. So there's a lot of politics going around, but this is a good starting point. Then the internal context is the history and how organizational shapers and respondents, this is you, for example, yeah? You agree that you want to run your team this way, yeah? Then you shape a new way of how we run teams. If it's the same way, yeah? Then it's the same way. But nonetheless, how organizational shapers and respondents have interpreted and institutionalized the practice. What does that mean in very complicated language? It means how things have become normal, yeah? How we expect things to be run. This is built in the past of in the company. Yeah? So there's always this negotiation for you to actually make the project management that you want to promote and run to those forces. And the inner context is often completely ignored, and you will see that often in wonderful papers as well, that they actually recognize that the new way of running projects mostly didn't work because the team was not ready to work that way. Most drastic examples is if you look at any communication systems, funky gadgets, not everybody likes to communicate by doing this. So it's a different form of communication to how we have communicated in the past. So
if by its very nature it's supposed to be unique, surely that is a phrase that can't be used because every project is different and individual. You can't keep it to the norm.
No, this is the point that I'm saying. But every project, those are forces that we have as a project manager. Yeah, so as a project manager, the first thing that you have to realize is you don't walk into a company with a blank sheet where there were never projects before. Actually, there are still companies where that may be possible, but it's really happening. So people come into projects with having worked a certain way, having expectations and norms and ways of communicating, preferred ways of doing that you will face. And that is what the term institutionalized means. At society level, we institutionalize as well. So we have, for example, institutionalized our professions. We are the medical doctor, and we roughly know what the concept is. We do at the moment the same in the UK. Yeah? So the APM is getting as well at the moment chartered status, which is a succession to be part of the parliament. And in the end, you are a Royal Society. Yeah? This is then when you are directly influencing what we are supposed to be doing, in Parliament. So this is quite interesting political process in the UK. But nonetheless, so there may be ways that have institutionalized what you expect, how you should interact in a project. And when you have those team members on board and you come along with all these new concepts, you will see they will be surprised. Yeah? And then it's a question of finding a way that works best for your project, because we have recognized there's still a time element to it. Yeah? So, yeah, we leave it with that motion. And any other observations to this, or thoughts? Now, here comes the other notion, and we had that already, and I will repeat it nonetheless. Yeah? Here we go actually into the management of projects, which involves managing the definition and delivery of the project for stakeholder success. So in a way, we had that the slide before. The focus is on the project in its context, and we have defined that a little bit. Project and program management and portfolio management, though this is less managerial, sits within this framework. So those are as well now mechanisms that influence as well our project performance. And we have a detailed look actually on how this is happening. And actually I have to say, sadly, this model is not very accommodating for both program and portfolio management. So we will go a lot further and have a look refined at it. And I hope some of you will strive to work as well as a manager of a portfolio or as a program manager at some point, because that is as well a very interesting field. And I will try to bring it closer to you in 2 weeks. Yeah. But what we have here, we have an added notion. We actually jump before the project delivery, where we're running already, and we think about the conception and the feasibility stage. And in this, and this is where the project definition sits as well. And in this model, I want to look today with you at one project or at the line of phases of a project where we actually follow it through to the close out and the operations level. Yeah. Yeah, I hope that makes sense so far. So there is another issue, and we have as well already identified that last week, and it's a slight polemic. This is the CIC. Does anybody know what it stands for? Is it given away? I don't think it was given away. Which industry do you think this is? It's industry specific. Yeah, construct. Or was it written? Oh, okay. Well, but super guess. Oh, you know the CIC?